just take a look at what I found. This is the Ferrari 328 GTS. This is the car which is the successor to the legendary Ferrari model 308. As you know, the 308 is the version that introduced the wedge design for the Ferrari for the first time back in the 70s. And there is a lot of history behind this kind of design approach for the car industry, and I'm going to tell you all about it. We are going to review it, the whole interior, the engine bay, and the exterior design. Guys, this is the Ferrari 3.2 liter V8 Gran Turismo Spider. A huge thanks to Automobili Valentino for letting me to film this beautiful Ferrari in their showroom, and you can check their Instagram out. They have an inventory of amazing cars, such as these two 911 Turbo S's here, and they have much more. So let me talk about the design of this car, which is absolutely interesting, and there is just so much about the design. As you know, back in the 70s and the late 60s, there was this crisis going on named as oil crisis. It resulted in a trend to go away in the car industry, and this was the American style of living. This design style was the cars with long tails and a lot of chrome shiny details on the exterior designs, but those cars were not really aerodynamic and fuel efficient. The car industry had to come up with a new idea to make the cars more aerodynamic, and as a result make them more fuel efficient in an oil crisis. So basically, for the first time, Alfa Romeo came up with the concept of the wedge design with the 1968 Carabo concept car. That design language translated into a lot of famous cars from the Lamborghini and also Ferrari. The most famous one is for sure the Countach, and then came the Ferrari 308, and later this successor, the 328, and then after this model, the 348 in the 80s. Ferrari gave birth to 7,162 models of this car in a span of 4 years, from 1985 to 1989, and 80% of them are the GTS model. So it basically makes the GTB model as rare as the Ferrari F40, which is absolutely crazy. The Ferrari GTS was the most sold one because it was more comfortable than the GTB because of the headroom. So as you can see in the front, there are a lot of clean design changes by the Pininfarina. The front bumper is all in the same color, but we have this new front grille in the chrome color, and we have these two huge fog lights in the front bumper. And since it is a car from the 80s, it has the pop-up hidden headlights, which is my favorite from this era of the car designs. And as we move to the side, we have this more curved looking shapes going on, and we reach to the door panel. And on top of the door panel, we have this integrated air intake, which helps feeding the air into the engine, which helps the combustion and cooling off the engine bay. And as we move to the back, we have this angular shape, which is the signature for the GTS models. Here in the back, it gets more muscular, it's more curvated, and it's more wider, which makes the car look more muscular-y. And as we move to the back here, we have this beautiful legendary circular tail lights, which I actually miss them in the newer models of the Ferraris. And we have these 4 exhaust pipes sticking out of the rear bumper, and we have this huge window which actually helps the passenger and the driver to look back to the car very easily. We have this optional leather-like spoiler on top, which makes the car so beautiful and helps the air direction into the air vents on top of the engine bay cover. Now, as we move to the side again, we are going to see some more details. And the first one is on the wheels. As you can see, this wheel here has a little bit of the curvitate form on it, which by this curve on the wheel you can understand that this car is from 1988, and it has the ABS system for the braking system integrated to it, which is very rare because only the models from 1988 and the end of 1989 has the ABS option available on it. And then as we move here, we have this plastic panel over here on the side, which you can see there is a key knob over there, and you can actually open this up. And as you open this plastic cover here on the passenger side, you can see you have access to the back window over here. And it kind of makes sense when you have this cover over here, because if you notice here on top of this very small door handle, there is this lock over here. So basically, if the thieves had access to this window easier than just breaking this panel and move to the inside of the vehicle, they could easily open up the lock and get inside the vehicle and steal something. And on the other side, when you open up this plastic panel, you can access the fuel cap, which is underneath this plastic panel. And this plastic panel kind of helps you not to drop the oil drops on top of the color and damage this beautiful, gorgeous color, and also keeps the cap not to hit the body panels and damage your color. And you can see there is this little hole here, which is actually a drainage hole. When you spill the oil on top of this plastic panel and you move it up, you can actually drain the oil inside this hole and not to damage your color. But I guess when you try to drain it from here, you are going to kind of actually damage the color around that area. And as we move to the door panel here, you can see that we have this very small door handle, which you can basically only put 2 fingers inside it, and it's very, very small, but it's also very, very ergonomic. By just the looks of it, it looks very strange, and it kind of feels hard to open up the door, as you might feel that this door is heavy, but actually it's very easy to open up the door with this handle. But I really appreciate the design team tried to integrate the door handle inside the door panel, but there is this very strange thing going on here. As you can see, the key knob over here is very visible in this shiny metal material, and kind of ruins the design of the side profile. And you can see here on the side view mirrors, we have this Ferrari badge, which is a very cool touch, very small touch, and it makes the mirrors look a little bit less cheaper since they are completely in plastic material. But before we move to the interior, I want to mention this line that is all over the car, and it kind of makes the car feel like it has like 2 separate panels, and it kind of gives it an elevation, because this car sits very low, it's very low, but this kind of line actually helps the car to look more elevated and feel more higher. As we move to the interior, just take a look at this beautiful floating design of the door handle inside, which is so crazy for that time. Guys, this car is from 80s, and they have this floating effect on the door handle, which is absolutely crazy. And it reminds me of the arcade gaming controllers, the pilot looking gaming controllers, because it has these 2 buttons here in the back for controlling the windows, and also these knobs to adjust the side view mirrors, which literally feels like it is the arcade controller model. And if you want to open up the door from the inside, this is the door handle. You have to put it up, and then your door is actually going to open. Here in the back we have this handle to open up the back compartment on top of the engine bay, and there is another one here in the front to open up the front compartment, which is actually your place to fit the spare tire. And take a look at this interior, guys. This is a very analog interior. You can see the gear shifter, which is so nice, accompanied with the ashtray and the cigar holder next to it. And you can see all the climate controls you have here in the middle of the center console. Just take a look at that emergency button. Literally looks like a missile launch button. The most interesting button here is that one over there, which basically controls the antenna for the signal receiver for the radio, which is absolutely crazy. And just take a look how small those buttons are for the climate controls. Back then apparently they didn't care about ergonomics. And just take a look at this steering wheel. We have this metal panel here in the middle, which is absolutely insane and so old school. We have the controls for the pop-up headlights, but they are very close to the turn signals, and you can mix them up when you're driving. And that is a kind of a funny problem to have. And you can see the gauge cluster in this orange looking indicators. And this was so modern for a car from back in 80s, but right now it looks very old school. But this is all about the character of this design. As you can see, we also have them in the middle, and in the interior there is another feature which is absolutely cool. You can see this leather cover here in the back. That is actually the place you can put the roof, detachable roof here in the back, and you have this leather cover here not to damage the stitching and the textile. So here is the legendary engine from Ferrari, the 3.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 from the Dino series, which was actually used on a lot of different Ferrari models. This engine is really famous because it's very easy to repair. It's very reliable, and as you can see that the whole setup is very simple, and people who want to maintain it or repair it, they are not going to go through a lot of hassle to do it. This engine keeps the K-Jetronic fuel injection from Bosch, which was also used on the 308. But this engine is more powerful than the 308. It has 270 horsepower compared to 240 on the 308, and it has 310 Newton meters of torque, and does the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.4 seconds. And the top speed is 264 kilometers per hour. We have this luggage compartment which is actually zipped, which is so interesting, and these all are in a leather trim. But I don't know how they managed to keep the heat away from it and not to damage this material. But this is such a very cool touch here in the back. Alright guys, that was it for the Ferrari 328. I hope you enjoyed the details and this new type of review that I did for the first time. And I will see you next time in the next video. Bye bye.